where do you feel like we are in the cultural conversation around menopause right now? Like, what is it that is the tried and true? What are people gravitating towards? And what is it that women need to know right now?
Yeah, it's a good question. And you're so right about it. When I go and I think back to 3 years ago and even 5 years ago, we did a documentary. We're working on another one now. And we got a response like, there's no audience for it. It's a niche audience. Nobody wants to talk about it. Now
Hmm.
I feel like we're in a place where I don't know that a lot of people don't want to talk about it because they
Yes.
want, which is a great place to be as long as they're getting the right information, right? So I think that there's a lot of conversation about it from a couple of different areas. Social media is one, the marketplace is another, businesses and seeing how we can, this is a big group of women that want a lot of answers and obviously businesses
Hmm.
go, "Oh, what does that mean?" And
Yep.
then I think that the third big place obviously is in workplace, and then we have
Mm.
politics and legislature and all those other areas. But I do think that there is a lot of confusion out there right now, but then I also say, okay, well, then we can work on some of that, but at least we've got it like pulled out into the, culture or the atmosphere and the environment, and men aren't afraid to say it. I was in a meeting before I jumped on here and I said, I literally saw the thermostat and it said 80 degrees. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm not sitting in a room like this. And I go, guys, I said, my patch isn't going to cut through 80 degrees. So you got to fix that AC. And nobody felt weird about it. Nobody was like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
Tamsen again with the whole hot flash thing. So
Yeah.
I do feel like happy that we've got the words out there. Not everybody, but we've got the words out there. But I do think we need to tweak now a little bit.
Yeah. So the conversation has been started. And one of the things that I realized in, like, this is from the hundreds of thousands of comments we get on YouTube and my
Yeah.
socials, is that women are confused. And we have like gone from a place where nobody was to do HRT and now everybody's to do HRT. But then there's little nuances in that, like, what if you don't get the right doctor? There's a learning curve for your
Hmm.
dosage. Where does lifestyle fit into this?
Hmm.
So, can you talk a little bit about what we know culturally, like the experts right now, about HRT? When do we start it? How long do we need to be on it? What's the cultural message on this?
Understanding of it. Yeah, and I'd love to talk about some of the confusing parts because I think that that's what I'm seeing the same thing now, a repetition, right, of the
Yeah,
issues. So people don't know where they got the fear, right, of hormone therapy. I mean, we
well
kind of
said.
all know it now, but there was a study in 2002 that I know you've talked about many times, the Women's Health Initiative, that scared, the headline scared a lot of women. So in the back of our mind somewhere we have estrogen equals breast cancer, right? Because that's kind of what the media pulled from that, put into the headlines, scared women, scared doctors, scared medical institutions. And I wasn't around reporting on those things then, or that I don't remember it. But I do know now, fast forward 20 years later, 3 years ago, everybody was afraid of it. Today, we're talking about it openly. I just started doing a
Hmm.
video like post your patch, so we could just kind of normalize what that even means about it. But I think the biggest challenges we have right now is what is HRT slash
Mm,
MHT slash
mm,
HT, like what is hormone therapy? Because that can be
yeah.
confusing, right? If you're just jumping into the conversation. And I'm a regular woman, so I feel like I'm almost a conduit between like
Hmm.
understanding what the doctors are saying and then finding a way to simplify it for a book or for the documentary. So I think what is it, what comprises of it? Could you say there's nuances? So are we talking about vaginal, are we talking about estrogen, progesterone, or testosterone?
Hmm.
And then in lifestyle, where lifestyle plays. And then I think that the next area of confusion is it that I'm at risk because my mom did have breast
Mm,
cancer and died of breast cancer. Am I allowed to do that or am I not?
mm,
And then I guess maybe the
hmm.
final one would be I have a doctor that is telling me this or telling me that, telling me it's not safe for me, or doesn't even want to have the conversation. So that's where all this confusion happens. So if
Mm.
we talk about the guidelines right now, most women are able to should be able to go to their doctor when they're in perimenopause, that time of before you're in menopause where your period stops, where you're no longer having a period. And it could be birth control or it could be a form of hormone therapy that could be a mix of hormone therapy. And you're 51 years old on average when you get, when you go into menopause, some women before, some women after. And the guidelines, to my understanding, and you know this better than me, is that you can stay on hormone therapy for the rest of your life. And we have a lot of the leading voices, doctors out there saying like that's the case. Now we have different guidelines. So the guidelines that most people refer to are the Menopause Society, which says that if you're 60 or you're within 10 years of that menopausal transition, then that's another conversation for you to be having individually with your doctor.
Yeah.
When it comes to breast cancer, then that's another conversation. So you're right. There's so many nuances now in between things that are leaving women going, but what about me? Because it's not clear cut.
Yeah. And I think this is the downside of social media. I keep saying, stop organizing your health around a 90-second reel. We've got to look at the experts and then ask ourselves how it fits for us. And it's interesting because I'm sort of seeing two sides of the HRT conversation. I actually, the last leg of Age Like a Girl, we brought in an editor who had worked with me on Fast Like a Girl. And one of the things that came up is that she's in her 60s. She said, my friends and I are upset. And we're upset because we weren't even given the option. So what do we do now? And she was like, literally. And I was like, oh, that's a very valid point. And then on the other side, we are getting messages from women that are like, I went to the doctor, I put a patch on and nothing's helping. I feel worse. And then another part of the conversation we have is people like Mary Claire who are getting up and saying, well, actually doctors haven't been trained in menopause. So it feels like the wild, wild west still a little bit.